Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I'm using something different to pour with. There we go. That's what I'm going to use. It's a little bit like an open cup technique. So I'm going to place some paint on the canvas and then I'm going to fill up the toilet roll, probably a quarter of a way with paint, and then release it. So a little bit like an open cup, but I'm going to swirl it around first, just to kind of see if we can create different patterns and a completely different technique. So I'm going to take you down to see the canvas. I'll show you my colour palette, all the brands of the paint and the consistencies. So what do we always say? Let's see what we can create. So here's the colour palette that I'm going to use. I've got a range of paints. I've got a mixture of Pebeo, Amsterdam and Winsor & Newton. So I've got a Mars Black, and that's going to be for my base. And then I've got the Iridescent Precious Gold. I've got Winsor & Newton's Permanent Green Middle. I've got Metallic Green by Amsterdam. And then finally from Pebeo, I've got the Iridescent Green Yellow. So I will list all of those in the description box. I've mixed all my paints with pouring medium and water. 1 part paint, 1 part water, 3 parts pouring medium. I will list everything in the description box, but just to show you the consistency of the paint, it runs off the spatula, leaves a slight trace and then disappears. And that's the same with each of those brands. So I've got all my paints mixed up. I have painted the sides of my canvas. As you can see, it's on the stand ready to go. I've painted all the sides and I'm using this as my tool to put the paint in and then to release it. So I'm excited for this one. It's a good experiment to do. Let's go. So I'm just going to place some of the paint onto the canvas. I'm actually using Mars Black by Pebeo. So I've just puddled that paint directly from the cup onto the canvas. And now I'm just swirling it around just to spread it out a little bit more. But I'm not going to worry too much about making sure that that paint goes directly to the edges and down the sides. Because when we add more volume of paint onto the canvas, that's going to give us more paint to play with when we start tilting out our design. So I'm just going to make sure that my canvas is steady on the stands. I don't want it to be wonky because that's going to really distort the painting itself. So I do just double check that it's steady. So I'm going to just pop the air bubbles before we continue. And then I'm going to use the inners of a toilet roll. So it's just cardboard. And this is going to be almost like my open cup. So it's kind of like the open cup technique. But I'm going to place the paint inside the toilet roll and then just swish it with one swoop when I release the paint from underneath. So I'm going to take one colour at a time and place that paint inside the toilet roll. So I've got some colours in there. I'm just adding a little bit more black and I'm just going to swish it. And I'm a bit nervous if I'm honest, but there we go. Just one swoop, just round, just like that. As you see, it was very quick, wasn't it? I know it was really quick, but I'm not going to rush this bit. I'm just going to let that paint start to infuse with the black paint that's on the base. I'm just standing there waiting to see what happens. I am going to use my torch just to pop any air bubbles and to see if I can get any cellular reaction. And as you can see, by popping those air bubbles, that paint is starting to work with the black paint underneath. So let's see how this progresses as we go throughout this creation. So I'm now going to open up that pattern, open up that paint a little bit more. And what I mean by that is I'm now going to start tilting the canvas from side to side and allowing that paint to flow across the full surface area of the canvas. I tilt it, place it down on the stands and then turn. And all I'm doing is I'm just opening it up. I'm just spreading that paint out by tilting it from side to side. And as you can see here, it's really opening up some of those colours, creating some different tones because those greens are mixing with that black. And you can also see some of those cells forming. So I'm just going to add a little bit more paint here. I don't want to distort that pattern too much. So by helping it to flow more, I'm just adding a little bit more paint on those edges to help that green really flow to cover that surface area. I am so happy with this one and I can't wait to show you some in-depth detail. I'm going to take you in for a closer look shortly, but I'm just tweaking the composition. I'm just spreading that paint out a little bit more. I don't want blocks of paint, puddles of paint left on that canvas area because that will really affect the drying. I want a smooth, consistent layer of paint. Right, I'm happy with this. I'm going to take you in now for a closer look. If you're enjoying this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, giving it a like. That really helps me reach new people across YouTube if they don't yet know about my channel and the work that I do. So a big thank you in advance for doing that. That's free for you to do as well, so thank you so much. So let's take you in now for a close-up of the wet version. And of course, I'm going to stand this to one side on my drying table and I'll take you in for a close-up of the dry version too. And here we go, it's fully dry. I will put some varnish on. People ask me what varnish I use and what I do. So I find it easier to use a spray varnish. I normally use a brand from Winsor & Newton. I usually use a gloss varnish or a high gloss varnish spray. So that's what I'll do with this one. But a big thank you so much to every single one of you for watching me week on week. I really appreciate all of your support and encouragement. And I really hope you're having fun in these videos too. And if you try them, let me know. I'd love to see what you create. Have a great week, everyone. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.